Welcome to IT Road Trip, Coast to Coast, with your hosts, Michelle Hyde, President and founder of the Hyde Group, and Carmen Cerise, CEO and founder of Clarity. Our guest today is Tina Gravel, Senior Vice President, Global Channels with Cyxtera. In this episode, we discuss the fast-changing data center landscape. We also talk to Tina about her experiences working as a woman executive in the tech industry. Thanks for joining us for this episode of IT Road Trip, Coast to Coast.
Hey, thanks for joining us again for IT Road Trip, Coast to Coast. We've got a great guest today, and that is Tina Gravel from Cyxtera. It's going to be a whirlwind, fun conversation, that's for sure. So buckle your seatbelts and head on out with us on Coast to Coast.
Yes, yeah, we're really looking forward to it. For our audience members, hopefully you enjoyed the first one, and we're looking forward to our second edition of IT Road Trip Coast to Coast with Tina Gravel. And on cue,
on cue,
Tina Gravel.
It's the Tina Gravel, the glamorous, the one, the only. My first question to you, Tina, is of the trends that you've seen through the past and those that are occurring in the present, how would you categorize them as different and similar? I mean, for the technology, just the speed of which these trends are occurring and the frequency, and also the various technologies that are available to us and through this trending.
The time now reminds me a little bit of when we were introducing the cloud to the channel in 2007, 2008, in that there are so many technology trends coming at us now. There's IoT, there's AI, there's AR, there's blockchain, Bitcoin. There's all of these things, and some of them are quite good in terms of great opportunity for our clients to benefit from. And so it's it behooves us to train the channel on it. But that's where I feel that we have the most challenge, is that this is a new world. And so to internalize the changes of technology, it's going to take some doing to help the others, bring them along.
That's exciting. So, we're seeing the same trend, and that's, I think, one of the exciting things of our video blogging here is just really understanding some of the rapid fire technology changes, the sheer amount of technologies that are coming forth, the speed and how it has differed over the years. So thank you.
Yeah, that's very helpful, Tina. So I'll ask a follow-up question on that one. So the speed is something that we see that is accelerating. I think a lot of that has to do with the availability of hyperscale public cloud offerings. And unlike the old days where a server would have maybe a new release, software release every quarter or twice a year, AWS, Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure, they seem to be coming out with new releases every day. So trying to keep up with that speed, the speed of change, is really, really causing some challenges within IT organizations. One of the things we've seen with Cyxtera in your announcement of CXD is how you're trying to transform that colo. And my perception of it is transforming colo so that you can provide more on-demand provisioning, which I'm thinking will enable customers to move faster as this world is changing so rapidly. Do I have that right? And can you comment on it?
Yes, you have it exactly right. I have trained you well, sounds like.
Yes, you have.
Well, the word is velocity, okay? So we all have to move at a velocity that has never been seen before. And you know why? It's because of these devices, okay? We download an app, we move forward with our purchase. I just did our summer vacation this weekend on Airbnb, and I took a picture of my passport, and this person is finding out about me and checking me out, and we're doing it with a credit card, so we have a trusted body between us. But let's face it, I didn't have to call anybody. I didn't have to do a whole lot of research except the address by which I wanted to stay near. It was fantastic. And these kinds of experiences, I think, are training us for what we want our businesses to operate on. And I can tell you for a fact that most of the IT folks that I know are scrambling to keep up. So what can we do as partners in their business, if we truly are business partners and trusted advisors, to make things move more quickly? And I think that's one of them. I think the other thing we're trying to solve for is that data centers traditionally are location type decisions, right? So you live in Baltimore, you might want to be farther away, but you don't want to be too far away, right? You want to be able to drive in a reasonable amount of time. We want to just break that whole paradigm. So you don't have to drive anywhere. You do it all on your own console in your own office. It's as if you're touching the servers, but you're not. It's different than cloud because I can run anything. Cloud assumes that you have a cloudified app, right? So anyway, I probably took too long on that, Ian.
Not at all.
Too much of a commercial?
No, not at all. It's funny you said it's not the cloud, but yet one of the elements that's similar, one element that's similar is the fact that you can do this on-demand provisioning. It's
Yes.
one of the advantages customers like about the cloud, right? Because they have more flexibility and agility to move things around. So you're taking that agility and moving it more to the data center and the colo space.
Yeah, we've seen a little bit of a, it's kind of funny because in 2008 and 2009, if you were a partner and I would be talking to you about cloud, I'd say, go after the dev and the test, right? Well, what's happened now is there's no budgeting capability. So the cloud is fantastic, but they have these gigundous servers that are costing them so much money. And so we're saying, look, you know what? Maybe you're better off having a dedicated instance of something where you can run anything you want and then really be able to budget around what you're doing. Bring it in so that you get a little bit more control. So while I say cloud, it's different in that you can build as many virtual servers as you want. We don't care. You put your own virtualization software or you save money by using the Nutanix software. You don't have to use the commonly accepted orchestration and VM software. But the fact is that the velocity is there. So in minutes, I can have my environment. I can begin to upload things to my environment and work with it much as I would the cloud.
I wanted to kind of segue into the women M2M and speak a little bit about the differences that you're seeing today in women in tech versus days past. I mean, we've both been in this industry, and I'm still trying to pawn off that I'm in my 30s, so bear with me. But
Me too. Yeah.
29. We've been 29 forever.
Yes.
But the reality is that we've been in the industry for now decades. We'll leave it at that. And so, how have you seen it change over the years? I know how I have seen it change, but I'd love to hear it from your perspective.
Well, first of all, that award was, a huge surprise. I didn't expect it. We hadn't applied for it. A lot of these things, I sort of take with a grain of salt. It's nice to get them, of course, but, it's all about your company, not so much you, right? In the case of this one, Connected World, the editor, Peggy Smedley, she goes out and does her own research and somehow associated, I was very lightly associated with her. I was invited to participate on a panel and didn't know her, didn't know anything about her. And all of a sudden I found myself in a room with a bunch of other women like myself. So you can't buy into this. You can't buy buy the award. You can't even apply for it. And what an honor. I mean, I saw women there that I know I could learn a lot from. So I'm excited to be part of that organization, and hopefully I'll be on the voting committee and I'll be able to nominate people like you, Michelle, and in the future. But it's fantastic. So here's what I see happening right now. I see a lack of tolerance for mistakes. Meaning, in the past, as somebody coming up in the 90s, with my career, I looked the other way a lot. If somebody called me sweetie, or if I knew that they meant well, and it wasn't so much an insult or anything like that. And what I'm finding is that is an insult, for people it is an insult, and we can do better. And so I'm me, I'm very casual and I'm all over the place having fun and everything, but this is a really dead serious situation. If we don't fix it now, if we don't do little steps now, it will never get better, and we'll be just as we were today. It's amazing that there are 2 women and 1 man on this, because it's usually the other way around, right? I think in the channel we have the advantage, and I always say maybe it's because it was telco oriented. Many of us came up from, in telecommunications and the help desk and all of that, and second level clerical, and before you know it, we were selling, and before you know it, that's not how I came up in it, but I see that as one of the common threads in the channel. I was lucky enough to be hired because the company was a federal contractor, and they had to build up their quota of minorities. And so I happened to be just run into somebody that knew about this program, that brought me in. I was not qualified, but I earned the right over time. And so I was really fortunate. But as you saw, as time went on, the women, it didn't get better. In fact, in some cases, it got worse. And so my take on it is like, what can I do today to make it a little easier for somebody coming up? And so what I'm doing is I'm building something called Women of Cyxtera. And I went to HR and I went to our senior execs and I said, you know what, we need to do this. I don't want to own it. I don't want it to be about me. It's not like the Tina Gravel Club. It's nothing like that. In fact, I just want to come up with a few ideas that we could build this around, and then give it to the team, and then have them figure out what they want. But we've got to have a place where there's safety in numbers, where people feel confident talking about a concern, and so we can do better. Because unless we start now, it'll never happen.
That's a great answer, and not one that I actually expected from you. So I'm thankful that you had a chance to vocalize that, because I would say that that's the social aspect of women in channel, or women in technology just generally, is that social acceptance of it, and not the belittling of it, I guess, a little bit. So just the talking down and that type of thing. So recognizing them as capable of individuals, I think is something that is so needed and overdue, as you'd explained. So thank you for sharing with that.
Yeah, thanks, Tina, for 2 reasons. One is, as an executive in the industry where I've worked for women, with women, and I've had lots of women on my teams, I'm constantly trying to learn more about how to be more sensitive and how to be more inclusive, and then trying to share that with my team members as well, right? So from a professional standpoint, I thought that answer was great. The other reason is I have a daughter, right, who's in technology, she's in IT, and so I try to guide her, but I always tell her, listen to your dad, but also listen to other women, listen to women in the industry, because they have a perspective that I don't. So I'd be interested in her listening to this and hearing your response so that she too can learn. So I was really appreciate that.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I did some research on this, and that's one of the keys, to have a mentor close to you to push the technology, to push you towards it. So whether it be a man or a woman, whoever it is, to show you that technology can be fun, to show you that it's not all about coding, and then to show you that once you get the basics down, you can go anywhere with it.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of IT Road Trip Coast to Coast. We're looking forward to seeing you again as we meet with other leading industry experts to cover the fast-moving developments in the IT and channel worlds. You can reach out to and follow our hosts, Michelle Hyde and Carmen Cerise, on LinkedIn, Twitter, or by email. Until next time, safe travels, and we look forward to seeing you soon on our next episode of IT Road Trip, Coast to Coast.